in America is Justin Amash, and mainly because Justin Amash, who runs our Jib here in the studio, is a second cousin to Justin Amash, and we're wondering which one is telling the lie on how to pronounce the last name. Mm-hmm. Is it Justin Amash, who works for me, or is it his second cousin, Justin Amash, who happens to be on the phone with us? Congressman, how are you?
Hey, Glenn, thanks for having me on.
Well, I want to settle this controversy that is
Amash
raging.
or Amash?
Well, we've always said Amash in our family, but I got to tell you, I have a lot of cousins, and there are probably 3 or 4 ways to say the name. So.
What kind of scam are you running here?
How many Justin Amashes or Amashes do you have? Because
I
literally one of the stars of all Jib operations in America works for me.
At least 3 Justin Amashes, and I've heard rumors of a 4th one.
Amash or Amash?
I don't know.
Okay, all right. So hang on just a second. Where's Justin? Where is he?
He's right there running
the Jib. Okay.
Yeah,
well, you weren't last hour. Put the Jib camera on you, or somebody get a camera on. Have you ever met? Have you guys ever met each other? You've never met each other? We have to bring this family together.
Not that I'm aware of. I think he's my second cousin.
Yes, he is.
He is. And he's your Facebook friend, but I'm sure you've got more than one Facebook friend.
I wish him happy birthday on Facebook every year.
There you go. All right. So, Congressman, how are you?
I'm doing great.
We are fans of yours. You are a guy who is taking the fight to the power. You are a guy who is kind of moving the libertarian movement into, I think, a whole new realm, and you're not afraid of who you are. And first of all, just thank you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
So, tell me what you are facing here in your race.
Well, it's what I faced since I first started running for office. I'm a guy who believes in limited government, economic freedom, individual liberty, and there are powerful people within the GOP establishment who don't like those things.
And you're in Michigan. How is that playing?
It's played great in my district. I've been elected multiple times to the State House and to Congress. Each time they try to put up a fight, sometimes more so than others. And this is one time where they've put up a self-funding opponent who intends to spend perhaps millions of dollars.
So I was talking yesterday to a big libertarian, and he was saying he wrote something for I'm trying to remember what's
Politico, I think.
Was it Politico?
Kevin Williamson.
Yeah. And he said he didn't think that real libertarians could actually win. He didn't think that Rand Paul could win because libertarianism is out of step with what he thinks the American people believe. I don't think that's true. I just don't think we have anybody really articulate. Rand Paul is good at it. I don't think anybody's really articulating it all that well.
Well, when I'm in my district, I communicate my beliefs to my constituents, and I've been elected, with large margins. So it's a popular view. I believe when I go around my district and talk to people, most people agree with the general philosophy I take, and it's a libertarian, constitutional, conservative approach. And I don't really try to distinguish between the two because I think they're basically the same philosophy. It's a belief in classical liberalism, which is what our founders believed in. It's a constitutional conservatism because we are trying to conserve the constitutional foundation of this country.
So tell me how that plays in a country that doesn't, you want to talk about cutting the budget. You have to do some serious cutting, and almost everybody's, strung out on government smack.
It's about being honest with the American people. When I go to my town halls and speak to them about these issues, what they want to hear is what is really going on, what are the problems we face as a country, how can we move beyond these problems. And when you explain it in a clear way and you don't use the typical political deception that most people in office use, people will trust you and they understand the kind of things that need to be done to get this country back on track. And look, the philosophy is about protecting people's rights, and whether that's economic freedom or their civil liberties, for example, the NSA spying on all Americans. It's important to people to have their rights protected. They want that, and that's what our country was really founded on.
How do you stop the NSA at this point? It seems to me Congress doesn't have. I mean, they've lost their spine. They've almost lost their will to be relevant between Congress and the Senate. They're barely standing up for anything constitutional. How do you get this NSA, especially with everything that they're gathering on people? How do you get them to stop and reverse this?
They've been led to believe that what they're doing is constitutional because they have a FISA court which tells them, hey, it's okay to spy on all Americans. But our Constitution says otherwise. And right now it looks like our best hope to get things back on track when it comes to protecting the Fourth Amendment is to pass the USA Freedom Act. We've heard some proposals from the White House and from the Intelligence Committee. Those proposals don't really make any difference. They're just going to shift where things are stored, but they're not going to shift how it's collected by the government. So if whether it's the government holding the data or the phone companies holding the data, what really matters is who can access it. And if the government can access it whenever it wants, well, it's not really much of a difference. So we need the USA Freedom Act, and I encourage listeners out there to call their congressman, let them know that.
Tell me what it is, because, I mean, we were all roped into the U.S. Patriot Act. What's the U.S. Freedom Act?
Well, believe it or not, the author of the Freedom Act is the author of the Patriot Act, and he realizes that the Patriot Act has gone awry. He came to recognize the problems that the American people were being spied on through the Patriot Act. So the Freedom Act reforms the Patriot Act. It changes the definitions in the Patriot Act so that the government can't collect. Why not just? I mean, I think it was Einstein that said, those who create the problem will never be able to solve the problem. The guy who's writing it, why not, if he's really recognized his mistake, why not just repeal the Patriot Act? I'm all for repealing the Patriot Act, and I didn't support the reauthorization a few years ago when it came up. It's still a hard sell to get members of Congress to take that step. And believe it or not, I would add this. My primary opponent is actually running in support of the Patriot Act and in support of Section 215, which is actually the section that's being used to collect everyone's records. He actually supports that, and he's running against me on that point.
As a libertarian, this is something that Kevin Williamson brought up last night. He said, I don't think that people are going to really share the weakness on defense. I consider myself a libertarian. I don't think I'm weak on defense. I don't want to go into Ukraine. I don't want boots on the ground. I don't want to have boots on the ground in Israel should they be attacked. But I do believe in a strong defense, and I do believe that we have to have some, moral standing in the world. How do you deal with, let's say Poland is worried that they're going to be invaded by Russia. Russia invades Poland. What do you do?
Well, we have to assess each situation as it happens and think about whether there is a long-term threat to the United States.
Well, I mean, if Russia invaded Poland, that would be a NATO nation.
Yeah, and we have commitments to our NATO allies. So I believe we have to live up to our commitments to our allies. When we have treaties, when we have laws that bind us together, then we have to live up to those. But we have to be careful as a country about what kind of commitments we make, and we have to be careful about where we get engaged in combat. And being a non-interventionist, being a libertarian on these ideas is just about being a constitutional conservative. The Constitution provides for Congress to support the defense of the United States and for the president to carry that out. So what we're looking at when I look at situations overseas is whether the United States is at risk, whether the American people are at risk, and we have to think about that as a top priority. It's not about going around and policing the entire world, because if we did that, we would be spread so thin we would have no defense for our own country.
What is the one thing that keeps you up at night?
It's when people are disinterested in the country, disinterested in what's going on in our government. That's scary.
Is that why you use social media the way you do? I mean, because
yeah, it's about trying to increase transparency and awareness. What's going on in Congress, all the corruption, frankly, all of the bad deals that go on, it's going on right in front of people's faces, but so many people don't see it. And I decided when I got here that I would follow the path I took when I was in the State House, which is to explain every vote I take using Facebook at facebook.com/RepJustinAmash. Every single vote, about 2,400 votes in Congress since I've been here.
And you explain on each one why you voted that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes more detail, depending on how complicated the bill is. But I believe it's important to explain everything to the public.
One last thing. We have the Progressive Caucus that nobody seemed to care about. And I think there are deep progressives, agree with me or not, deep progressives in the Republican Party as well.
There are some. I think most Republicans are better on a lot of these issues than most Democrats, but there are certainly some Republicans who are here who don't believe in most of the things I believe in.
Okay. But the Progressive Caucus is a massive power. You chair the House Liberty Caucus.
That's right, yes.
Tell me about its influence.
It's been increasing in influence over the past couple of years. When I got here, I had about 4 or 5 members who would attend our meetings. Now we're up to about a couple dozen. I invite about 30 people to this caucus, and we're trying to push limited government, economic freedom, and individual liberty within the Republican Party, and across the aisle, too. We've had meetings where we've brought Democrats in. We think these are the principles that will lead to prosperity for our country, lead to opportunity, and we want to bring them back into the forefront. The Republican Party has pushed them into the background, and we want people to be proud of their Republican congressman again.
When you went to that bar in, where was it, Alexandria?
I think in Arlington, yeah.
Yeah, in Arlington. You just showed up. Will you tell that story a bit?
Well, there was a Liberty karaoke, and the story is a little bit exaggerated about just showing up. They had invited me to come, and they normally hold, this is a group of young people, young Republicans, libertarian-leaning constitutional conservatives, and they go to this bar about once a week, and they do Liberty karaoke. So they gather together with other Liberty lovers, and they sing karaoke. And
do you want to be associated with people like that? That's what I just wanted to get to that.
Look, I love the young people who are really moving in our direction in a more limited government, economic freedom, individual liberty direction.
Just to get away from karaoke people.
Yeah, really, seriously. I don't care if they're progressives or they're libertarians.
It doesn't matter.
Karaoke is the key here.
I didn't sing any karaoke.
All right, okay, good. Justin Amash, JustinAmash.com or Amash, JustinAmash.com. Amash.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're a mash. He's a mosh. Got it.
Yep.
All right.
Now, is that where I would go if I wanted to donate to your campaign? Would it?
Yeah, JustinAmash.com. That's
okay.
right.
Yeah. Good.
Is that right?
Yeah, because JustinAmash.com.
Yeah.
It would be AMASH. .com.
Yeah. Truly one of the guys who we need on Capitol Hill that will help us restore our Constitution, at least slow down the dramatic eating of our Constitution.
And I believe we have a new promise: no more karaoke. Right, Justin?
Well, actually, there's a Liberty karaoke tonight.
Oh, no.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, no. And you're not going, are you?
Just declare yourself. Just declare. Do this. Recognize that you're powerless over karaoke.
Let me make a quick pitch. It's for Igor Berman. He is running for Congress in California, and they're holding a Liberty karaoke event for him.
Liberty karaoke.
Can I tell you
event.
something? I would, if this is the guy I think it is, I would go. I would actually go and sing. This is the guy, if I'm not mistaken, that is a former Soviet, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
This guy's unbelievable.
Yeah, he's a Russian immigrant, and he is running for Congress. He's very liberty-minded. I'm supporting him. I've endorsed him. A lot of my conservative and libertarian colleagues have endorsed him. And
what's his name again? Igor
Berman.
Berman. Okay, Justin, thank you very much. I appreciate it. God bless.
Thanks so much.
All right,
Take care.
we should get Igor on.
Still,
Igor
no
is,
karaoke. I
yeah,
don't
no.
care.
Igor
I don't care how good he
Igor is this former Soviet who has come over and he's like,
I've never heard of him.
"What is wrong with you?" Yeah, no, he is taking a strong stand.